Since we've been talking about the coronavirus, this week I thought I might just talk about 6 easy things that people can do to boost your immune system. And I really shouldn't say boost it, I should say balance it. If you guys are interested in that.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's some information I would love to have. I mean, you've gone to a lot of effort to get all of these menus and all of these ingredients, and I'm interested in knowing how you came up with this plan. Why are these the foods and the nutrients and the things that you need to, improve your health? I mean, I know some things are better for you than others, but you're pretty specific about everything. And I'm interested in knowing how you arrived at all of, I know we're going off subject here, so we can do that for another day, but
Yeah,
that's something I'm very curious about.
well, you're exactly on topic, Kim, actually, because I intentionally made all the menus so that all the nutrients that support immune health, that support anti-inflammatory conditions, are included in the whole week. And that's why I'm so specific about the ingredients, the number of nutrients that someone's getting per day, making sure that there's the right amount of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And the combination of things together. The very first thing to keep your immune system in balance is your vitamin A's. And vitamin A comes from fermented cod liver oil, liver, and beta carotene is the way most people prefer to get that, from carrots, spinach. The thing about carrots and spinach is they don't convert to vitamin A unless they're mixed with a saturated fat. And that's why I have it in our menu plan to either mix it with some guacamole, hummus, or you can also, if you can tolerate dairy, just put butter on your carrots, cook them, saute them a little bit in some butter or some ghee. And they're also really good with coconut oil. But unless they're mixed with some type of, with a fat, they won't convert to the vitamin A. And spinach, same thing, mix some fat in there. A lot of people like to use some type of animal fat in spinach. So with animal saturated fat, it's fine to eat that as long as it's from a clean source. There are a lot of jars now of different types of, like, either pork or beef or chicken saturated fat that comes from grass-fed, wild, organic type. The source, and as long as it's clean, because fat is where the animals are going to store toxins, and so that the fat would be like the worst thing to eat if it's not a clean sourced animal.
That was a really aha moment statement that you made, because we talk about our toxic fat. Well, the farm animals have it too.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And if they're fed the processed corn and all of the other things that we might try to feed animals to fatten them up, I think they used to, I don't know if they still do. I don't think they still do, but we used to pump them full of these hormones and all kinds of stuff, and we were getting all of that. Same thing with eggs. You want the chickens that have been free ranged, organic, out in the open, just eating what their natural diet is and not being fed processed corn and wheat and things. Okay, the second superhero for the immune system is vitamin D. So vitamin D is like a hormone. It activates your T cells for your immune system. Decreases severity of autoimmunity, enables your monocytes to kill viruses. And the best sources are sunlight, of course, but I'm not talking about going out and baking in the sun. Just get out in nature, walk around the trees, park, your backyard. 10, 15 minutes a day, and that'll activate that. Eating liver has it, of course, grass-fed butter, fatty fish, the salmon that we had earlier this week, some of us have, egg yolks, fermented cod liver oil. Vitamin C, antiviral, antibacterial, antihistamine. It boosts your antibody production, improves your antibiotic therapy. Comes in papayas, bell peppers, strawberries, oranges, superfoods. There's a superfood that I put some of this camu powder in my smoothie in the morning, along with my protein. And I also add in a little teaspoon of goji berries. But camu has the highest concentrated amount of vitamin C that there is of any fruit. And I'd never even heard of it until maybe 6 months ago. But I feel like my immune system is in complete balance. I don't even think about catching anything or doing any of that. I already know that my immune system is balanced right now. Inkenberries, vitamin C boost. But vitamin C, I think, is a big one. Now, if you do take vitamin C as a supplement, I would just start low doses on that and go slow because if you take too much of it, you will get some diarrhea. Okay. So number 4 is zinc and selenium. There are tons of people in America that are deficient in zinc and selenium. And the foods for that would be, again, liver, beef, oysters, scallops, lamb, oats are a big one that are loaded with both of those. Sesame seeds, pumpkin seeds, and Brazil nuts are a super high source of selenium. And when I find people that may be low in that, I recommend they eat, just 2 or 3 Brazil nuts a day, but you want to make sure you get those 2 from a good source and that they're not rancid. You have to keep them in the refrigerator or the freezer.
Okay.
Herbs. Some of the ones would be black elderberry, garlic, echinacea, turmeric, golden seal, cat's claw, astragalus, which the other thing that I incorporated into all my menus are mushrooms. The ones I usually like are the shiitake and the reishi, but there are hundreds and hundreds of different types of mushrooms that I'm finding out. And different parts of the country, like the Northwest, they've got just tons of different mushrooms that all do different things. And of course, there are some that are poisonous, but we're not going to eat those, of course. There it is. About having a balanced immune system and what it looks like. In some ways you can tell if yours is not in balance. If your immune system is overactive, you're going to manifest, or you're going to have allergies showing up. And also overactivity would be autoimmunity. Now, over 80 million people in the United States only have some kind of diagnosed autoimmunity. There's over 100 different ones that have been named so far. And it's taken people 3 to 4 years to even get a diagnosis. And sometimes they'll go through multiple doctors just to get that. And once they get a diagnosis, the doctors are not trained on what to do about it. And a lot of times they just start throwing medications at people, and it's only suppressing the symptoms. It's not going to the root of the issue. And I will say that 1 in 12 women have some type of autoimmunity. And even if people are having the symptoms, I can still help them because it still all goes back to the roots of inflammation and maybe a couple other things. Could be some genetics in that. But it doesn't matter as far as what the name of it is, because I don't do diagnosis anyway. And we can still help people bring their immune system into balance if it's overactive like that. underactive immune system would be things that show up like cancer or infections, viruses, things like that. So you really just want to be in the middle with keeping it balanced. And so that's why all of the menus that I have are designed around that. So some of the things that take your immune system out of balance are we're going to, since we had the superheroes, we're going to have the villains. Excessive sugar consumption. The white blood cells actually shrink in response to exposure to sugar. Just 3 ounces of sugar reduces white blood cell activity by 50% for up to 1 to 5 hours after someone eats sugar. And cancer cells, of course, feed off sugar. Everybody knows that already. Number 2, eating foods that you're allergic or sensitive to. And we talked about that a little bit last week, but if you're consuming foods that you're allergic to, the most common ones that people are allergic to that they don't know it, that are just permeated throughout almost everything in our food system, are gluten wheat, of course, and it's not really the gluten in the wheat, it's what the processors have done to that. As far as the, adding the chemicals and the Roundup and all that kind of stuff, and the genetic modification of the wheat. The same thing with corn, dairy. I'm just gonna, eggs sometimes too. A lot of times I'll go for a long time without corn because there's so many people that are allergic to it. Alcohol consumption, it actually prevents nutrients from feeding your immune system. 70% of the immune system is located in the gut area. A diet deficient in certain nutrients, especially the A, C, D, zinc that I mentioned earlier. Let's see, an excessive toxic load that we were just talking about. If someone has heavy metals, pesticides, pollution, toxic chemicals from their food, if all of that builds up and it suppresses the T cell activity. It also decreases natural killer cell activity, and it ages the thymus. Excessive stress. And this also goes to the excessive toxic load and the excessive oxidative stress. It inhibits the many aspects of the immune system. Lack of sleep. Oh my gosh, sleep is majorly important. That's when your body does all the healing, and if you don't get enough sleep too, that also reduces the natural killer cell activity. And the natural killer cells are the ones that fight off that cancer, because we all have the cancer cells in our body, and most of the time our natural killer cells just take care of it and we don't have to worry about it. But, speaking of numbers, with 80 million people being diagnosed with autoimmunity, compare that to 30 million type 2 diabetes, 20 million with cancer diagnosis. So you can see autoimmunity is much, much bigger, like 4 times bigger than the cancer realm. Another immunity villain, something that weakens someone's immune system, would be having surgery or some kind of traumatic accident. Vaccinations and antibiotic use. So as you said, Maria, earlier, that going crazy with supplements and activations and things like that, it's all fine, but it's even better when you can back that up and help yourself with some nutritious things too, just by adding a few things here and there a few times a week. It'll make a huge difference over time. Yeah, so Maria, it was a big worry of yours or concern of yours that your mom was not going to be able to adapt to any of this. So how do you think she's feeling today?
Oh, honey, she's adapted because I've been doing all the cooking. She comes to me, so, well, what are we going to eat? Because I'm hungry.
That's funny.
I fixed the salmon dish last night, And see, being from South Louisiana, I love to saute butter and onions and all that. So moving towards coconut oil has been a change for me. But what I did is I sauteed all the vegetables a little bit before I put them in the oven, and then just kind of seared that salmon on the bottom. And when it was so sweet and yummy. And I also soak them in vinegar water. I don't ever do that. And like my cherry tomatoes, just by themselves, the taste was so elevated. My mother even noticed it.
Yeah, it's
So
amazing.
it's these simple little things. But overall, now we did fall off because my son fixed spaghetti, but he used turkey meat. That's all he could find. I had one little bowl of that. But overall, she's staying on it. She's adjusted well. It hasn't been anything major. And last night she said that's the best meal I've had in a very long time. So
Oh, that's fantastic. So have you guys noticed anything about feeling differently or not yet?
not yet. I mean, because overall we feel good.
Right. Yeah. You guys already feel pretty good.
Yeah, I want to start seeing her to lose weight. That's my biggest issue. And I know everybody loves the morning glory muffins because I made a double batch, and I even gave some to our friends staying with us, and they love those.
Yeah.
They love the vegan chowder soup. I mean, even my son, everything has been so delicious. The only thing was the overnight peanut butter. I messed it up, so they weren't that fond of it. The texture. She ate some last night, though, because she was craving something sweet. And I said, well, I have this left. Okay, I'll have some of that. But I feel that she has gut issues because of all this processed sugar she craves.
Yeah, exactly. Because it all backs up to the gut. And when you're doing great things for yourself and then you eat sugar, you undo it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, this was great information.
You know, I guess if you're going to eat sugar, I heard one doctor say, if you're going to eat sugar cookies or something like that, put butter on them.
That fat, that good saturated fat.
Right. Right.
Kind of put a blanket over it, a protection, I guess.
I guess that's what they're promoting, but of course they're saying the best thing is just not to eat it. And I have tons and tons of recipes on that, but of course, you know, they're not the most nutrient dense. They're just something to satisfy that craving a little bit.
Well, I have a sweet tooth too. I do. Yeah. I've always had a sweet tooth, but it's not every day. It's in moderation and every once in a while.
Yeah, which is fine. Yeah, I'm not into suffering and deprivation and, you know, just going without things for a long time. Even
well, I will say the recipes that we've been having in our home this week, we've been eating in small portions, smaller than normal, or kind of about the same, but it's all been very filling.
Oh yeah, I mean, they're designed so that when you get the right amount of each nutrient, you feel satisfied. They trigger that hormone that says, hey, I'm full and I feel fine. And they got enough fat in them to last 3 or 4 hours without eating. You know, kind of how I specifically designed everything. My grandson is 20 and he wants to lose about 15 pounds. And he already in this first week, or since he's lived with me now for 3 weeks, he's lost 8 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Get away from the fast food.
Yeah. I mean, he's still consuming some pizza and fast food, but he's mostly eating at home, and he's actually loving everything that I've made so far.
Mine's son too. But Hunter does not need to lose weight. He's very tall and thin.
Yeah. I'm actually going to work on my garden this afternoon and get some things going there. And my grandson doesn't know anything about gardening, but he's off work today and he's actually excited about growing our own food.
Oh, you need to do a video of y'all.
That'd be fun, huh?
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
definitely.
Yeah.
And some gardening tips.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I think a lot of people under this pandemic right now, they probably thinking, I wish I had a garden right now with some fresh food.
Well, that is exactly it. If it comes out of your backyard and you know where it came from. So yeah, I do a lot of things where I get organic vegetables, like say tomatoes,
Mm-hmm.
and slice them, and I just plant those slices in some organic dirt. The tomato plants just take off.
Wow. What
And
about carrots? Because I had these carrots and they had actual sprouts on the end. Can you replant those?
yes, you can. And green onions, and they're
Yeah, I'll do
super
that.
easy, and you don't have to throw anything away. That you just kind of recycle your own carrots every time.
Love it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool how we can grow our own food and go in our backyard, pick it fresh. And there you go. And it's funny how the seasons of the growing seasons match our body systems of what we're supposed to be eating each season.
I don't think people really, I don't know if they're taking it for granted. They don't realize, watermelon season comes along and there's a reason why it only grows for a season.
Exactly. And watermelon is one of those foods too. That's another tricky food that it seems like it has high glycemic load or index, but it has so much fiber that the glycemic load on it is pretty low. So watermelon is one of the best foods ever.
Mason goes on watermelon fast whenever it comes in season.
Oh, I love watermelon too.
Okay.
But thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
So this has been amazing, an amazing journey with you, Tami. I appreciate everything.
I appreciate it. I'm coming over to get some of those Japanese plums.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And I have a ladder too.
Oh my gosh, I have to go up a ladder?
Now I'll get Hunter to go up the ladder for us.
Okay, good.
They're low too. There's a lot of low ones.
Oh, good. Okay.
I'll pick up some too.
All right. Y'all have a beautiful day.
Bye, y'all.
Thank you.
All right.
See you later.